Good morning, everyone. We are here with another Thoughtful Thursdays. It's so exciting. We have a wonderful guest. You are going to love Cara and all the stuff she has to tell. And we had so much fun in the pre-show time that we had to, you know, start over. So,
Exactly.
oops, we're going to run out of time, so we just decided to start over and film our conversation so that y'all could hear it, because you know that here at Mavens of Motivation and Thoughtful Thursdays, we're real and we're raw and we try not to hide anything. So, in full disclosure, I need my boo-boo kissed. Look at how fat my finger is. Look at the difference.
Oh,
Look at the difference. And my whole hand is
oh
starting.
my gosh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, she got stung by a bee.
Yeah, I got stung, and then I got stung on my belly, and I got stung on my
Oh,
knee. We
rude.
were harvesting honey yesterday, so anyway, I had gloves on, but I was slow getting the second pair on. Yeah, so anyway, it's been a fun day. Last time I got stung, it was on my thumb, and so it's like I couldn't do anything. I mean, starting the car and stuff like that. This has been also part of my pincher, but not nearly as bad as a thumb. So anyway,
It comes under the heading of you don't know what you use until you can't use it anymore.
exactly. And have you ever had it? Because that one, it got me right on the end of the thumb, and it was one I thought was dead, and I picked up a bee, and he got me. What? What? What?
I feel the pain. Though I don't.
Oh,
I'm feeling it.
are you having empathy? But have
Ah,
you ever had it itch under your fingernail? And
no, that sounds
trying to,
really irritating.
yeah, trying to itch under your fingernail. That was, this has been a walk in the park compared to last time. So anyway, on with the show. Now that I've had my little moment in the spotlight and y'all have kissed my boo-boo.
Yes.
So anyway, I'm Carol Henderson. I have Life by Design, and I help you to spiral up and live the second half of your life better than the first. And it is a choice. It is definitely a choice. And I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Miss Barbara Ellison.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, welcome. And welcome to the show, Thoughtful Thursdays. I'm on a mission to make happiness the norm rather than the exception. Because I truly believe that each and every one of us deserves to lead a happy, healthy, debt-free, abundant life. And so that's what this show is about. Hearing from other people the things that they are doing to make sure that they align with what our mission is. Is, like Carol, to spiral up, and for me to make happiness the norm. And right now, I will tell, the US is 15th in the world in happiness. And that we are up 1 point, one spot. We used to be 16th. But isn't that sad that here we are, the most technology country, the most medical, we spend the most amount of money on healthcare in the world.
Sick care.
But we're 15th. Yeah, we said that, but we're 15th in the world in happiness. What's wrong with this picture?
Well,
so I thought, so that's one of the things that Karen and I, we just found out that we were on the same marketing call today from a friend of ours, Steve Erickson. We'll give him a plug. He is absolutely
on it for a little bit.
Tech guy genius.
Yes.
But anyways, he was teaching us on how to make lead magnets. And so we were talking about making lead magnets for our clients and clientele and our audience and those kinds of things. And so I was telling a couple other of my friends, and we were talking about, I said, well, you know what, this is what I deal with, that people that are getting older, but they want to enjoy their life, and they want to, but they might not necessarily know how to do that because their job description, they equate themselves with the job description or their job title. And so a friend of mine said, she says, well, make a lead magnet that says, okay, so I've got my big girl panties on, now what? And so
I
Carol and I
absolutely
are
love it.
going to do it.
And so many people that I know or that I've run across, it's like they think that now I'm retired, I'm supposed to sit on the sofa, eat bonbons, and watch soap operas all day. It's like, no,
No,
you have
don't do
too
it.
much to give into the world to just fade away and knit for the rest of your life. Nothing wrong with knitting. A friend of mine owns the most amazing knit store, but it's not that you're supposed to sit secluded in your living room doing nothing else. Go teach other people how to knit. Some of these young people would love to learn.
Right.
You know, there's so many
So,
things.
so that's where Cara, it's just, I'm so excited because we did have a conversation. So tell us about you, because I mean, you are a hoot.
Well, thank you, ladies. I'm super excited to be here. Hi, everyone out in the world. So I'm Cara Jean of Taking Cara Business. Not only is that my name, but it's actually the framework for what I do. So I help us clarify, assess, realign so that we can achieve, right? And it goes to what we were just talking about beforehand, right? So we were talking about watching people progress, right? And seeing how 3 years ago, what holy bunches of changes have happened. And we were thinking about that with other people, but then we started reflecting back on ourselves. And I'm going to ask this to the people out there watching. Where were you 3 years ago? And was 3 years ago you so excited to become the person that you are today? Because that means there's someone always super proud of you right now.
Yes.
Well, and 3 years ago, truly, we were in the midst of
We had just started. We were just starting this lockdown.
And that was about the time that Barbara and I started our shows and everything. And we're going, you know, this is wrong. People are they're becoming
Isolated.
yeah.
And have no hope.
Yeah.
And that these shows are, you know, y'all have heard me say over and over that it's like when we were kids, that the moms would get everybody to school and then they'd sit around the breakfast table, have coffee with their friends and solve the world's problems.
Yes.
And so, you know, but people, number one, the women went to work and so they didn't have that. They did still have the water cooler, but with the lockdown, people had nothing. No outlet, no, you know, they were afraid to go next door for a cup of sugar. And, you know, that it was sad. It was sad. And truthfully, don't get me on the soapbox, fewer people died with the whole lockdown issue. We won't mention it here because people get their YouTube channels taken for it. But fewer people died from that than do from the seasonal flu. And the seasonal flu disappeared during that time frame. If you look at the stats, that the seasonal flu just kind of went away. And I'm not saying that people did not die, and I'm not saying that people were not sick, and I'm not saying all those things, but I think it was the fear. I mean, have they ever put the ticker across the news flash of how many people died with the flu or how many people died in your, you know,
of heart disease or diabetes or whatever?
Yeah. I mean, it's like it just instilled that fear of what if, what about, am I next? What if somebody did, you know, it's like your brain, you had nothing else to do but sit and watch the news. And then they're telling you that all of your kids and all of your grandkids and all of your friends are going to be gone tomorrow. So, you know, there's only so much of that you can protect your brain from other than turning the TV off.
And I think, okay, so regardless of where you fall on the pandemic, some of the stuff that we learn from it, I'm not mad about. Like, nobody likes the pandemic.
No.
But the is better. The realization that, oh, fun fact, mental health is part of your overall wellness.
Yes.
And if to succeed, you're going to have to check that. And
totally on board with you on that. Totally. But the thing is I guess the way that it was done.
Right.
Fear. I mean, anytime we live in a place of fear, you're not coming in it the right way, period.
Yeah,
exactly. You can accomplish exactly the same thing from a place of love, right? And that
Exactly.
changes entirely how things have been developed. And I think that, because that kind of goes to what we were talking about earlier, right? With the knowing yourself.
Yeah.
And what does that require? And it hurts my heart how much fear people were put in for years during the
Exactly.
pandemic. And this is not the first time. I mean, we went from a pandemic to a war. So, it's not like we don't constantly live in fear.
Right.
But forcing people to shut down and be alone made them ask themselves some big questions. And if it
Yes.
weren't for that fear, there wouldn't be people like Carol and Barbara who shut up and said, why don't we create a space of love?
Yeah. That's very true. That's very true. And
Well,
pandemics in the past, this isn't the first one, but this is the first one that was broadcast on TV 24/7, just like Vietnam. For those of y'all that remember the Vietnam War, that was the first war where we saw the death and
actual
the
footage.
and actual footage, real, within 24 hours of it happening. Yes, they did have to ship the film home, I think, then. But still, the other wars, it was letters. It was, this is bad. But people didn't see it, and it wasn't in their face 24/7 like Vietnam was.
Yeah.
I mean, just think back. There was the swine flu, back in 1918, and people did wear masks some, but it wasn't all encompassing the world like this did. And just like the H1N1 or pig flu, whatever, and the avian, all these things they've had over the years, and wars. But this was in our face, can't get away from it 24/7, and therefore the fear.
Yep.
Therefore the fear of what's going to happen. What's going to happen? Is it the end of the world?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, everybody who was here in 2000 experienced that too, right? Literal.
Oh,
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Y2K.
Yes, exactly. I mean, and I wasn't that worried about it, but I did take the precaution of backing up my computers. I started my modeling agency at the time and had tons of information that's for all my girls and my models and my guys, and and I did not want to take a chance, so I did. I backed it up, but
you have to be
back then it was on
reasonable.
CDs. It's like backing up hundreds of stuff on CDs.
Okay, now that we've
CDs to this day.
So now let's talk about Cara. Tell us about you. I mean,
yes,
I'm talking about this, but it's like tell us about you.
So I have a universal thought that kind of sets the tone for hanging out with me. We are meat suits. At the base level, we are meat suits full of hormone soup, controlled by mush management, but made of stardust. And that's pretty simple, but
pretty true.
True, yeah. And when if you start at that very, very base level and start to figure out, what do you need to do to take care of this meat suit? Is it hang out with the Mavens of Motivation so you feel good about your life? Is it that maybe you do need that extra cup of coffee? Hey. Maybe it's that you need water, or to get to bed on time, or to move more.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it starts, because if you don't take care of this meat suit, then the hormone soup is going to get spicy, it's going to get salty, it's going to shut down mush management, and nothing's going to get accomplished.
Exactly.
Right. And then we blame it on external forces. We blame it on other people.
Yeah.
We blame it on other circumstances.
Oh, my kids. Oh, the work.
This is the government's fault that I'm this way. Yeah, well, guess what? You know what? The buck stops here. We are responsible for our own choices. But you know what the thing is, though, when I really realized that was a hard realization, awareness that, ooh, you mean all the choices that I've made in the last 70 years that's why I'm the way I am now. It's like,
all those Twinkies and ho-hos.
All those Twinkies and ho-hos, and when I'm Canadian, we ate poutine and tortillas, but they were good.
Delicious.
They were delicious, but not necessarily the most nutritious,
long-term choice. Yeah.
long-term choice. And yet now I love the fact that we can all come together like this and just talk about awareness and talk about the way our life is going. And we have, number one, we have the freedom to do it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we have the responsibility to do it.
Yes. Yes. And the
Yeah.
opportunity to do it globally.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
That's what I find here in the US. So many people have never traveled outside the country. They have no friends outside the country. And fortunately, because coming out of the model and talent industry, I did have that view of the world, and I'm very thankful for that. And just even traveling, I mean, my dad was a pilot as a child and had his plane, and we flew a lot and did things like that other kids I went to school with didn't get to do. And so
Yeah.
it changes your view of the world, all your experiences. But also, like Barbara said, it's buck stops here. Just because you didn't have a dad with a plane doesn't mean that you get the excuse of, and people that are very, very wealthy, anybody in this country is very wealthy. There are the homeless and stuff like that. But for the most part, you stack it up to Africa, you stack it up to South
The
America.
other continents.
Yes. I mean, even Mexico. Our people are very wealthy in comparison as a whole, as an average. And yet, how many people think that they've got it so hard and say, "Oh, I have nothing to be grateful for this morning." It's like, you woke up. You woke up. You breathe. The sun is in the sky. Hopefully, you have a roof over your head.
Yeah. You're not listening to gunfire. That was a friend of mine. When he said, one of the things that I am grateful for is that I can leave home and not have to worry about being shot.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
Because he grew up in Baghdad.
And that's a real life thing.
Yeah.
And that was a real life thing. And he had to deal with that every day and talk about the trauma. So if you have gone through something that's traumatic, hey, reach out. There's help available because you don't have to live with it. However, it is your responsibility to reach out.
Yes.
Exactly. And if you need to talk about it, call one of us. We're not counselors, we're not doctors, but we have 2 ears. And sometimes it just takes speaking it out of, this is what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
This is what I'm dealing with. This is how I look at the world. And maybe just a different perspective can change how you view it. And like I said, that's what we're here for. We're here to make life better.
Right. So, Cara, what's your favorite thing to talk about with your clients or to deal with? Or
there's so many.
I know sometimes you think of it. Sometimes for me, it's like, ooh, I love talking about this.
Oh my God, this and this and this. There's so many thoughts that came into my head right away. I can't believe that I didn't just like visibly glitch. But I'll start at the beginning. So we've kind of actually already talked about it. I'm just going to say it again in a different way. In life, so here's the thing. As a meat suit, you don't get out of this experience without surviving trauma and drama. That's just a part of navigating one meat suit in a universe full of meat suits. That's real life.
Right.
But it's not what you come with, it's what you do with, right? Yes, that's going to happen. And your feelings about that are real and valid, period. But they still have to do things in life. And in doing that, I call the hashtag magic 3. So there are 2 things in life, things that you can control and things you cannot control. If you let go of, and I'm saying this, it sounds so simple. I understand that simple is not easy. That's why we were just talking, it's better with a buddy. Everything is easier with a buddy. Talk to somebody, say it out loud, right? So if we can let go of the things we have no control over, there's only 3 things in life. That's it. Now, with those 3, you have all of the power, all of the control, all of the impact you need right now to succeed, period. And it's the way you think, the way you speak, and the way you behave.
Right. And those are the only thing that you have choice about.
Yep.
And one of the things for me is one of the things I think that I find that with so many people, they choose to get offended.
Yes. Yes.
That's a disease that right now.
That's a disease. Last night I was at church. We had church in the park. It was wonderful. We have a local bandstand, and we had church in the park. Well, one of the pastors of one of the other churches got up, and he just made a comment, and I know him, so I know that he did not mean it the way it came out. I know that he did not mean it the way it came out. And I went, oh, brother. And then I thought, am I even going to say anything to him? It's like, no, let it go. Because I know that he did not mean it the way it came out. And anybody listening to it could have been offended by what he said. But it was like, I knew the spirit of what he was trying to say. And it was like, and then later on in the service, it was just it was a great thing. And he is a wonderful pastor, and we had prayer. And but so often one little thing, and all it takes is for one person to go, well, I can't believe he said that.
Well, and let's take it home. Think about how many times you can get offended at your spouse,
right,
or your children, and then there's a rift. And if you go to sleep on it, if you go to bed with that rift there, it's like everything that happens in the day gets processed into the real you at night while you sleep. And so then you start with it if you go to bed day after day after day after day after day after day with these offenses, and then you have this big wall built up, and it's like, we need to get a divorce. And it started with nothing so often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's what I talked to a guy last night, and he said, well, I've been married twice. And I said, well, yeah, I understand. He says, yeah. He said, same woman.
My dad did that.
Married her twice, because the first time was practice. The second time he learned better. He knew more, and he married her again, and they were happy. They're happy as happy little clams.
I love that.
But it's absolutely the truth. Let stuff go. Let stuff go. Talk about things you can't control, because I have been known to say something out of my mouth and
yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna do.
And you want to take it back. Too late.
Yep.
You opened your mouth, you inserted your foot, and it was too late.
And there it is. Yeah. I always think of the Avengers movies, right? And the big bad guy, his whole thing was he was going to snap his fingers and kill half of everybody. But he thought he was the good guy. Like, his intent was to make people's lives better. I mean, his behavior was way far apart from that intent. But that's all of us, right? Like, I really firmly believe that people don't wake up in the morning, they're like, how can I make the world worse today?
Exactly.
That's not a thing.
I thought I did wake up that way.
She's like, there was this one day.
But sometimes I think we do, because we wake up with the offense from the night before or the day before.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to tell them off today.
Yeah.
Well, you've now cursed your day.
Amen.
Yeah. You've now cursed your day. And I mean, I one of my favorite things is that if you have genuinely made a mistake, okay, fess up, take the heat, but then go on. You messed up. We are all going to mess up. Might not be today, but it might be tomorrow. Or you did yesterday. We all mess up. But fess up, take the heat, and then just go on. Ask for forgiveness or make restitution, whatever is required, but then go on. You can't do anything about it. It happened.
There's another lead magnet for you. Mess up, fess up.
Ooh,
Thank you.
Thank you. I am going to write that down.
Mess up, fess up, get on with life.
Period.
Yes.
And that makes me think of grace. I mean, that is
Yes.
really, there is always going to be a gap between our intent and our behavior, because the intent's an
Yes.
internal thing and your behavior is an external thing. And there's a space in between, but grace is one of the best things to fill that space. With grace for yourself, you're absolutely going to,
Yes.
you already have so many times. This is probably the thing you are the best at. I mean, if you learn to walk, you already messed up so many times. So, okay. And other people are exactly the same. This is the thing that connects humanity, which I wish we could all see more often, is that we all fail. We all fail horribly and beautifully and learn and grow because of it. So if you can have grace for yourself in those situations, it makes it way easier to fess up. And if you can have grace for yourself, it's easier to have grace for somebody else when they go through the same thing.
Well, and we judge others by what we see they do. We judge ourselves by our intent. You know, it's like, well, I didn't intend that. So why did they take it that way? And
Right.
I can say something and 5 people in the room all take it a different way because it's through the filter that they are living in. We all have filters.
Right. And so many of the filters started when we were kids, and we bring them into adulthood.
Yeah.
So we put adult add-ons onto things, perceptions of when we were young. And those perceptions can be so misshapen and so misleading. And they tend to center around, well, I'm not pretty, I'm not worthy, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm too this, I'm too that. And that's how we judge ourselves. But we look at other people's highlight reel.
Yes.
Oh, look what they've got.
But we also look at them and we think, oh, she's got it all together. Or even as little kids, oh, that she's so spoiled. Look at her pretty clothes. Look at all her toys and stuff like that. You don't know what they're living. You don't know what, I mean, the little girl with all the goodies could be being trafficked or abused.
Right.
You don't know that. And so you judge it from, you know, I said this the other day on our Monday show that I was an only child. And my mother used to say that, or I am an only child. My mother used to say, you think, you know, Carol, I'd hear her say this to people, Carol thinks that all these other kids have the toys that she has and the toys they have. And even to the point I would, you know, I mean, I was very blessed. Okay. I never wanted for anything. So let me make that really clear. But my best friend was one of 6. My next door neighbor was one of 3. Okay. So, you know, their trees were just lavish looking at Christmas. They might have only gotten 2 gifts each, but that's 12 packages under the tree. And
perception again.
I had mine. I probably had 6 gifts, but it was 6 versus 12. I would wrap empty boxes and put them under the tree. And then I'd even say for the next year, we'd put them under the tree again.
Yeah.
To make it look a little more.
And that's exactly what it is. It's perception. What we perceive of what's going on in somebody else's life.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that you and I have talked about, and I think Cara and I, we've talked about it too, is that we equate our everyday with somebody else's highlight reel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that right there is, I think, why we're so unhappy in this country, especially because we've embraced the Facebook and the Instagram more, I think, than other countries. I don't see other people when I travel on their phones like we are. I mean, maybe in Asia, but not like we are. That we don't stop and take stock of that. And you see all your friends and they're traveling here and they're traveling there, and so often they're leveraged up to here with debt. It's like, which do you prefer, a debt-free life, and maybe you don't go on every cruise that comes down the pike? Or would you want to have to pay all those bills every month?
Yeah.
I had a neighbor that they had a beautiful home. Beautiful home. There were only the bottom floor was furnished. The upstairs, the kids had mattresses on their floors. And they would throw these big parties, but the rest of the time they ate beans and hot dogs. What's wrong with this picture? And we didn't find out till years later. Well, that was because the perception that they had it all together and that they had a wealthy lifestyle. They didn't.
No.
That was the.
Do you remember that commercial from the early 90s? I don't even remember. Was it an Amex commercial? And it talked about the Johnson syndromes, like making sure we have the same thing the Johnsons have, or
keep up with the Joneses, or keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah. And the commercial was like, and he's like, so I'm living the dream. I'm completely in debt and can't afford any of this. And I'm pretty sure I have to die next year for us to be able to live for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly
and how
what's
many
happening.
People are living that way even today. I do think 2020 helped that also. I think it helped a lot of people to take stock
of where
they were, stock of their income, realize that they may not have an income anymore. And God help the people who were told in December that they no longer had jobs and didn't get their Christmas bonuses, and they're told like the week of Christmas. That was heart-wrenching. But anyway, okay, Cara, we've talked and we haven't let you talk hardly at all.
No, I love this. This is wonderful.
Tell us what I hear. I hear a little birdie told me you have a gift for all of our listeners.
I do, but I also don't remember which one I put up for this one. I'm hoping, since I brought up the Magic 3, that's what I put on there. So hopefully, or at least we're going to make it after the fact.
Just tell them how to get it. Tell them how to get it.
Yep. So I have a PDF. All you have to do is reach out to me at Cara Jean at Taking Cara Business and let me know that you saw me with Carol and Barbara. You can just put that in the tag, Carol and Barbara, and I'll make sure that you get that. And we'll talk more about how changing your perception around the things that you can control makes you feel like you're more in control, because you are.
Okay. That sounds.
That sounds like a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It does.
So
go ahead, Barbara.
Last words.
Okay.
Last word of wisdom.
Okay. Do you have any wisdom?
Yeah, one minute. Your perception isn't wrong. And we often get told that it is, and it's not, because it's your perception. But the more perceptions you get, the more full spectrum the rainbow of your life is going to be. So reach out and talk to somebody about what's going on so that you can validate your experience, but maybe gain somebody else's.
That's good. That's
a mic drop. That's a mic drop. I like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So if you're watching us on Facebook, please click like and share, because that's how other people get to experience this wonderful podcast that we do. And if you're on YouTube, do the thumbs up, because that helps the algorithms. Please subscribe and ring the little bell so you'll get notified when we have a new show coming up, because we do post them as premieres when possible, so that you can even get the link to send to friends before it airs, so you can be the first one on the block to know what's happening. So thank you so much, Cara Jean. This has been delightful, absolutely delightful.
And I'm going to put Carol and I on the thing here, that we're be on the lookout for our lead magnet of something some PDF that we are going to be offering, whether it's going to be putting on our big girl panties or mess up and fess up. I don't know. You know what? Because give you something tangible that you can read and look at.
Yes.
And I'm just putting us on the carpet that we have got that we're going to do it.
Yes. And don't forget,
hold us accountable.
If you want a card, if you want an inspirational card, put it in the chat. We do need your mailing address, because this is a card that you can hold in your hand. It's a card that you can hold in your hand. Here's one that a friend sent me.
Oh.
Okay. And so that's what we do. That's one of the things we do. So if you want an inspirational card, put your mailing address in a private message. Don't put it in the chat, because you don't want to give it out to the world unless you just do. But we're not going to come knock on your door and hand deliver it, but the postman will. And so that's one of the things that we want to tell you. And if you need to talk to somebody, reach out, get a hold of us. All three of us can see the stuff in here. So, okay. Thanks
All right.
so much.
Everybody have an awesome week. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.